Hey there, players. This is XB Walker back for another tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to do a dialogue quest in the game using Pippi. If you've been watching the other tutorials, you're already fairly acquainted and you're ready to go for this next tutorial. For those who have been watching and were waiting for the next release, I apologize. I went and visited family for a week, so I was gone for a wee bit. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to basically give you guys the basics on how to create a dialogue quest. Now, dialogue quests are not much different than fetch quests in the sense that you're going to be using the same nodes inside Pippi. The only difference is instead of the NPCs looking to see if you have a specific item, they're going to be looking to see if you have spoken to whoever you were supposed to speak to or had dialogue with whoever you're supposed to have dialogue with. You can also tell I've upgraded the tree fort here a little bit. I'm actually going to be doing a video in the future on how to build out player interactive areas like bazaars and things like that on your server, but that's another video for another day. So let's jump right into it. And last video, we basically created this little NPC over here, Heidi. Heidi's a reoccurring guest on my server. She's in all the NPC areas. And she gave you a mission to get a potion, or to get a bunch of ingredients for a potion, and you did. You turned them in. She said, oh, thanks so much. And now she says, thanks again for your help. I'm already making some amazing potions. Go ahead and talk to Kessie if you haven't already. No problem. I'll go talk to her. We just basically created a name out of thin air. And out of that thin air name, I created an NPC over here using the thespian item. Again, if you haven't seen the other videos and you don't know what I'm talking about, you should probably go back and watch those. But this is a thespian. You just load it in as an admin under the items list, admin panel, cheat menu, type in thespian or THES, go to the building items, and there it is. They don't weigh anything, and they just plant a generic NPC which you have to clothe. So I've clothed up Kessie, and Kessie is interactable. If I hit E on her, she just stares at you. She doesn't say anything because we haven't given her dialogue. So let's hold E, go over to edit. If you've just laid your thespian, you don't have to hold E because they'll automatically let you edit them until you tell them that they're a dialogue thespian. So Kessie here is an alchemist, and we have to find some sort of dilemma for her to require you speaking to a couple other NPCs to learn. So what we're going to do is we're going to go launch the Mushi editor, which is the editor, of course, to add in dialogue and all that other good stuff. I'm going to put this origin node all the way over to the left so we have lots of room to work. And we shall begin. We're going to right click. Let's start with a new dialogue node, an introduction of sorts. She says, hello there. Heidi tells me you may be of some use. That's all we'll have her say. We don't need it to be very complicated. And we'll keep it a little bit away from the origin node because we're going to come back and add in different conditions later on. So let's put that dialogue there. We're going to put some options in. You can either reply to her. Here we go. Option node. So whichever one you connect first, again, I said this in the other video, but whichever one you connect first is going to be the first option. If I connected this bottom one, it's not going to show up on the bottom of the options when I'm talking to her. It's going to be at the top. Okay, let's connect the second one. Yes, how can I help? Or I can just say to her, never mind, or sorry, I'm busy, I'll come back later, something like that. So we'll just say never mind is the other option. And if we say never mind, we go to an action node. In that action node, we're simply going to close the dialogue. There it is. One space between each so you can see the lines. And if I say never mind, it will simply disappear. Now, just to test this very basic function, we'll connect the origin node to our dialogue so we actually can say this stuff. I'm going to save it real quick. Close. Let's see if it works. Yep, hello there. Heidi tells me you may be of some use. Never mind. Shuts it right down. How can I be of help? Well, nothing happens there. because we don't have anything connected to the node. That's what we're working on. All right, so let's go back in and edit her. Mushi editor. Got to scroll all the way over to the left here where our stuff is. Get rid of that connector. All right, so if we want to help her, we have to start to set up a quest. Now, she is an alchemist. The quest line we're going to do is she is going to try and discern a couple answers to a test that she's taking, and she can't seem to figure out the answers. So we're going to just do a basic dialogue with some of her buddies who are going to give us those answers, and then give those answers back to her. Now, we could make it more complicated to where we have to do a whole quest for one of these people before they even give us the answer, which you're welcome to do. But for the sake of our time and not having a 5-hour-long YouTube video here, I'm just going to make it a very simple ask questions, get answers, and finish quests so you guys can see how it works. Okay, so yes, how can I help? Okay, so we're going to need a dialogue node. She's going to tell us how we can help. Connect that over. I'm in the middle of my early alchemy exams. Master of Guild has tasked me with answering 100 questions before I begin actual hands-on alchemy. I'm confident in my answers to 98 of those questions, but 2 of them are stumping me. It's not very Conan dialogue right there, but we're just trying to rush through this so we can get this tutorial done. Okay, so now that she's told you that she's got 2 questions she just can't figure out the answers to, you have the option to either tell her, oh, I'd love to be of help, or I don't have time for this, and you just take off. Okay, so output to there, output to there. Again, if you don't know what I'm doing, you should probably watch some of the earlier tutorials. Okay, so first one is, what are the questions? And then the second one would be, I don't have time for this. Okay. Now, I don't have time for this. It's too bad we can't duplicate nodes. Hopefully they add that feature to Pippi. That would be kind of cool. Just be able to duplicate that closed dialogue real quick. Output, okay. Closed dialogue. I'm going to put that right there. If I say I don't have time for this, it simply closes the dialogue. Conversation complete. Right-click drag to move your screen left and right, if you did not already know these things. What are the questions? So now she's going to tell me her questions. Question 1. For a potent poison against serpents. Oh god, did I spell serpents right? I think that's right. What is the alchemical base requirement? And then question 2. Oops, capital. And question 2. I spelled out 2 and 1, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Question 2. Let's say... what is the gland required for dragon powder? That's not very well worded. What is the gland required for dragon powder? Whatever. It is what it is, right? We're trying to keep this simple so we can get through this tutorial. Okay, so what is the gland required for dragon powder? By the way, I think the gland is the flame gland or explosive gland. We're just kind of making it up as we go, but I think that's the actual answer to that. Okay, so let's go to an option. We're going to reply to her. And at this point, we're in it to win it. So we don't need to keep making opt-out options where we keep saying, you don't have time for this. At this point, we're invested, so we're not going to make that. So I'm going to answer her. I will ask around and try to find you some answers. Actually, no one talks like that. So let's say I'll ask around. The problem I have when I write my novels as well is I often don't apostrophe things. I just go straight I will, I have, I am, and it's ugly. Okay, so I'll ask around and try to find some answers. And she'll say something like, oh, thank you so much, you're great. Thank you very much. I realize that missing 2 answers won't bar me from becoming an alchemist, but I am anything if not a perfectionist. Okay, there we go. And last but not least is our closing out node. Now, we don't want to put a close dialogue node right after the dialogue because you won't ever actually see her say this. It'll just close it immediately. So instead, we put an option node to let her say her piece. And our option is, I'll return soon. Here we go. Output. And now we close it with an action node. Close. Oh, whoops. I forgot a step. Let's delete that. Okay. After she says this, we have to actually receive the quest. Everyone knows that if they've seen the other videos. So first, let's receive a quest. And where is it? Give quest. Quest name. Let's just call it The Test. Notify player. That way they know they've just received a quest. Unfortunately, there's no real way to track your quests with Pippi as far as I'm aware. So she says, thank you so much. Thank you ever much. Whoops. Let's fix that. Thank you very much. Blah, 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 blah. And so she gives you a quest called The Test. And now you have the option. Say, I'll return soon. Sorry, I forgot the quest giving part. That's the most important part to a dialogue quest. Or any quest for that matter. And action node. Close the dialogue. Here it is. Okay, sorry, I got the hiccups. Alright. Done. Okay, so that is the beginning of the quest line. Hello, how can I help? I need 2 answers. What are the questions? Here are the questions. I'll look for answers for you. Hey, thanks so much. Here's the quest. Hey, I'll be back. Bye. Okay, so that first part is done. Now, if you watch the other videos, you already know that she is going to engage in this dialogue every single time she talks to you unless you already have the quest. The way we do that is we put in condition nodes. 2 condition nodes always if this requires that you have or do not have a quest. First condition node is, let's put these next to each other just like that. And, ooh, man, we don't have a lot of room from our origin node. Okay, so you're talking to her, and the first thing she's going to check is, have you completed the quest called The Test? So have you completed quest? The Test, remember, capital letters have to be identical to the way you wrote it in the quest she gives you. So The Test, capital T, or whatever you want to call yours. And that's there. So has the player completed the test? Oh, they haven't? Okay, so we connect false. Do they even have the quest called The Test? Oh, they don't even have the quest? Oh, well then I've either never met with them before or we've never had a long conversation. So, from false to here, and then she starts her intro dialogue, meaning she acts as if she's never met you before. By the way, we can connect our output now to this whole chain of events. Okay, so let's find a different scenario. Let's say they have completed the test. Well, what is she going to do then? She's going to say something like, "Hey, thanks again for your help. I passed the test 100%. Hooray, hippity ha hoo ha. Go talk to so and such for your next quest." And if I have not completed the test, but I do have it, she's going to say, "Hey, welcome back. Did you get my answers?" And you either say yes or no, and so on. So that's all set up here. Again, output to your 2 condition nodes to your quest lines. So we have to make basically 3 different areas. One is her talking to you if you claim to have completed the test. The other is her talking to you if you are still in the middle of the test. Okay, so let's just start with the easy one. Let's say we're later on, we've already completed this particular quest for her, and you've just returned to just interact with her for no reason whatsoever, and she just says, "Oh, thanks again for your help." We need to find an NPC for her to reference. So let's say close. Here's a couple over here. I've already set a couple up. I didn't show that process because it's pretty straightforward, and I showed it in an earlier video. So we have Jokum, the alchemic researcher, and Tella, the alchemic cataloger. So let's have Jokum be the next guy in the quest line. The way we're going to do that is we're going to just have her reference him when she's talking to you. Okay, so edit, launch editor, go way over here to the left. Okay, so let's assume we have completed the quest sometime in the future. So we're going to go to a dialogue node, and she's going to say, okay, so has completed quest, true. So thanks again for your help. I passed the test with a perfect score. The master was quite pleased. We'll probably just call him the master when we get to him too. Keep it simple. Go ahead and talk to Jokum. He has some problems of his own. Cool. That one's going to be real simple. And your options are very simple. Well, you only have one option. And to save space for another node, which we'll talk about in a second, we're just going to put your option up here. You're going to say, "Thanks, I'll speak with Jokum." Connect that to here, and then put in our good old trusty close action node. Close dialogue, rather. Excuse me. Close dialogue node is right there, and that ends that. And if you come back and talk to her again, she's just going to start up the same dialogue again. "Thanks for your help," because you've already completed the test. Now, let's say you arrive to her and you have not completed the test, but you do have the test. So again, we go in order, right? We go, have they completed the test? No, they have not. Well, in that case, do they even have the test as their quest? They do? Okay, that brings us to a different area then. So we're going to make 2 bounce nodes, mainly because we're just out of room over here. This is a very small space, and I like to keep everything very organized looking. We're going to put a bounce node and a land node. So we switch this guy down here to land. For those who didn't watch the earlier videos, land just means this is a point at which we're continuing down the line of quest items. And bounce means we're bouncing down to this landing node. So we're going to bounce. We're going to tell it to bounce to, looks like node 21 is what it assigned for us. So we're going to bounce it to 21. Now, have you completed the quest? No. Do you have the quest? Why, yes, I do. Well, in that case, if that's true, we're going to connect this little line over here. See this line? Over to the bounce node. And now it's going to bounce us down to this guy. And we're going to just start it, just to be very efficient, we'll start it right below this stuff, just so it's all nice and organized. So now, if you have the quest but haven't completed it, it takes you down here, and we write out our quest. Dialogue quest time. Okay, so you have not completed the quest, or the test, and the way that we do that is, okay, here, condition nodes. No, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Excuse me. she's gonna basically ask you, have you spoken with some of the other alchemists? And do you have some answers for me? Ooh. Ooh, that's painful. Do you have some answers for me? There we go. I don't know why it does that. That's a Pippi thing where it just freaks out like that. Okay, so this is her dialogue. Have you spoken with some of the other alchemists, and do you have some answers for me? Now, there's a couple ways we can go about this. We can either force the system, or more like force the player to prove that they've spoken to the other alchemists by way of each of the other alchemists giving the player quests, and those quests only being able to be completed if you talk all the way through the dialogue with those other NPCs. So this would be condition nodes where it says, has he completed, talk to this guy, has he completed, talk to that guy. If both of those are true, then now she's like, oh, you're right, you did talk to them. Here's what are the answers. Or you can make it a little bit simpler and the player just talks to those two people and she just basically tests him and hope for the best that he remembered the answers. So this time we're going to make it a little bit simpler because adding in another 4 condition nodes is going to be a bit much and will probably confuse a lot of you guys. So instead we're going to make this a little bit simpler, and we're going to have 2 options here. After she asks you, have you spoken with the other alchemists? You can either say, yes, I have, and I think I know the answers. Or you can just say, not yet. I'll be back. Okay, simple as that. Now we connect those 2 nodes together. Now if you say not yet, I'm sure by now you guys know, we're just going to close that dialogue. Nothing more to be said. Close dialogue, there we go. But if you return to her and say, yes, I think I know the answers. Wait, why did I put a question mark there? Yes, I think I know the answers. Okay, and she's going to say something like, oh good, what are they? Okay, great. Question 1. What was question 1? For a potent poison against serpents, what is the alchemical... Oh, I just realized... there it is, okay. So we're just going to hit Control-C after dragging over that, and it should copy-paste it right in. There we go. And we're going to do a multiple choice answer in this case. So I'm going to put in multiple options. Let's do 3 multiple choice. And if let's do 4. And we'll make one of them an obviously wrong one. Just for fun, just to be funny. And okay, so we're going to put that there. Line it up there. You like how I like it all nice and organized? I'm going to say I'm a little OCD with these things. We're going to connect all these options together. You can barely see the line because I keep these things pretty tight, but it is there. Okay, so answer number 1. We'll say any ingredient with a non-acidic base, which is the correct answer, by the way. I mean, it's our correct pretend answer. Heck if I know. I'm sure if you gave a snake alkaline water, I don't think it's going to die. But this is a fictional universe, so we can just come up with our own answers. Okay, so another one is... What? For a potent poison against serpents, what is the alchemical base requirements? Either black lotus flowers or blue lotus flowers. The third one, let's think of something else that sounds clever but is the wrong answer. Let's say... poison glands. Poison, I don't know why I capitalized that. Poison glands from animals other than snakes. And then our last answer is going to be a silly one. That's a very wrong answer. A cherry pie. All right. Okay, so those are our 3 answers. Let's get through how she is going to respond to each. Now, she doesn't know which is right or wrong, but this is a quest, so we have to find a way to make the players wrong if they're wrong. So let's start with the wrong answers. And she's going to go... Now, we can get real cool here. We can have a specific answer for each of these options, or we can just have a generic answer for them so that we save some space. So we're going to do the generic answer. Although when I create quests myself, I do make it much more complicated just because it makes it feel more alive. But for the purpose of the tutorial, we don't need to do that. I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure that's not right. And just to annoy the player for getting the wrong answer, we're going to have the player have to close the dialogue and start again. Ha ha ha, because we're evil. Let me recheck, because maybe they do have to go recheck by talking to the NPCs. Check is not right. Let me go check again. Now it's probably a little bit nicer looking. And our good old handy close dialogue. There it is. Done. Okay. Now, if they say poison glands from animals other than snakes, that's also the wrong answer. Instead of writing a whole new dialogue, we're going to hijack the existing one and go up to there. She says the same thing if you answer either of these. And then for this one, we'll create a unique dialogue option because it's such a ridiculous answer. She's going to say something like, "Are you even taking this seriously? This is my future as an alchemist. This is my future as an alchemist we're talking about here." No, just say that. That's fine. Doesn't need to be super complicated. So if you say cherry pie, that's what she says. And then you can relink it to the same answer. Let me go check again. And then closes the dialogue. So all 3 of these options result in her basically saying wrong answer and you having to go back and check again or reopening the dialogue with her and trying to get the right answer. Now, any player knows that they don't have to go back and talk to the other NPCs. They'll probably just come back and try a different option until they get the right one. There's nothing much that you can really do about that as a quest writer. You can't force the players to enjoy the entire interaction and go through every single talk. Some games have done that, and players get really annoyed because they like to skip quests or skip through the dialogue just to get to the reward. There's nothing you can do about that, so don't sweat it. If they want to skip everything and just get the reward, that's their problem, and they're missing out on the story that you wrote, so it's not your problem. Okay, so let's get to the correct answer. Any ingredient with a non-acidic base. So we're going to go to new dialogue option, and she says, that makes sense. Serpent blood is acidic by nature, so it would make sense that a base chemical would be poisonous to them. Poison, O-U-S, yeah, I think I spelled that right. And then she's going to say, thanks. Ready for question 2? New option node. Yes, I'm ready. We're not going to give you the option to say, no, I'm not ready. At this point, you're in for a penny and for a pound, so you're going to keep going. Okay, any ingredient with a non-acidic base. So we add that. We add that. And she's going to ask you her next question. Okay, new dialogue. And it's question number 2, which was over here somewhere. Question 2. What is the gland required for dragon powder? Let's put that in. Ah, shoot! I think I just screwed that up. Okay, good. I didn't. All right. I hit paste, but I wasn't pasting it anywhere. All right, question 2. Question 2. What is the gland required for dragon powder? And then you're going to get a bunch of options here. Before we get to that, though, I'm actually going to Alt-Tab, and I'm going to see if I can find that. Okay, dragon powder, Conan. I'm going to look up the ingredients to it over here and make sure I get this correct. Demon blood, brimstone, crystal, and steel fire. All right, it wasn't even close. So we have to fix the quest a little bit. We'll have her ask what kind of blood is needed instead of what kind of gland. So let's just go back real quick. Question 2, what is the blood type? I thought there was an explosive gland in there somewhere, but I'm thinking of something else. Required for dragon powder. And then what is the blood type? Now, players who've played a long time might actually know the answer to that question without ever having to ask around. But that's okay, it's just part of the quest. What is the blood type required for dragon powder? Not dialogue. So now we got to put in 4 options just like before. Option, option, and option. There we go. Nice and organized. Gonna go from top to bottom, connect those outputs. We're almost done, except for the other NPCs, which I'll go through really quick, guys. I know this is a pretty long tutorial. All right, question 2. What is the blood type required for dragon powder? Let's put mammal blood as our first answer. As our second answer, let's put demon blood, which is the correct answer. For our third answer, let's put actually, let's change this over to reptile blood, because humans are mammals too. Reptile blood, demon blood, human blood. And then the last option, again, will be something silly. Let's put Bloody Mary. Actually, this is a different universe. They don't know what Bloody Mary is. Okay, let's see. Blood fruit. And have a question mark, which clearly indicates the player doesn't even know if that's the right answer. And so let's just get through that one real quick. Are you kidding me? Blood fruit is a fruit, as is clearly evident by its name. Okay, and then you say something like, oh, whoops, I'll go ask again. Oops. I'll go check again. You silly player, you giving such ridiculous answers. And then we'll close the dialogue out. There we go. Okay, reptile blood and human blood are the incorrect answers. Now that we've connected these up, we're going to change the visible order just so it's easier to organize our nodes. Don't worry, they're in the original order we connected them up in, regardless of us moving them around. So human blood and reptile blood, we know, are the incorrect responses. So she's going to say, I don't think that's right. You should check around again. Okay, and then she'll respond the same way to both of these answers. And we will say, oops, I'll go check again. Close the dialogue. So these all are done right here. Now we've got lots of physical room right here to give the correct answer. She's going to say, yes, of course. Only a blood as potent as demon blood would create a compound as powerful as dragon powder. Thanks again. Okay, now this is where we finish this quest. So we've got that connected there. And instead of the player saying something, we're just going to have her hand out all the rewards immediately. So first of all, we're going to complete the quest. Complete quest. She didn't take anything from the players, as was done in our earlier tutorials, because there's nothing to take. There was just information to take. So instead, she just completes the quest. It's called the test with 2 capital T's. Yep, there it is right there. Notify the player that it's been completed. She's going to hand out some awards, rewards rather. Okay, action node. We're going to go give item, another action node, give item. And then we'll have her give them some XP. Give experience should be in here somewhere. I'm missing it. Give funds. Give XP. There it is. Okay. And then last but not least, we'll have the server announce to the world that the player has completed the quest. And then she's going to say something after that. So let's line these up. Give the player an item reward. Give them a second item. Give them some XP. And tell the world about it. Let's connect each of these together. And then we have to decide what to give the player. There we go. Okay, so the first item she gives them, let's hit the little search bar. Usually giving them in-game currency is pretty good. So I'm going to go gold coin. And I'm going to find the correct gold coin. I've got a couple mods on here, so there's a few choices. Gold currency, that's not it. That is gold coin from, I think, Amberlight or something. The one I'm looking for is this one. This is a gold coin that's from AOC, which for my server I've decided to be the primary currency that we use. So use selected. Gold coin, how many should I give her? Well, gold is supposed to be very valuable, so she's just going to have you, she's going to give you 1 gold coin, which is pretty valuable. That's 100 silver. All right, next up, she is going to give the player some actual cool thing. Maybe some armor, something jungle related, something that's kind of hard to get. Or she could give them a potion, since she is an alchemist. So let's do that. Let's type in healing. I think there's a healing potion of sorts. Mystical healing potion. Now, if I remember correctly, this thing heals you by a ton. So let's have her give the player a couple mystical healing potions, maybe 5, for emergency situations. And then last but not least, she's going to give them XP. My server has level 300 mod. So by that level, you've got to get like 20 million XP. So I think about 1 million XP is a pretty good reward. That should give most players at least 1 level or 2. Okay, so chat messages. She's going to tell, well, the server's going to tell the server. We're going to go global so everyone can hear it. Quest complete. That's the title of the message, and then here is the actual message. We're going to go player name inside of these pointed brackets. Player name, all one word, and it will reference whoever's talking to this NPC, so in my case, XP Walker. Player name is smarter than the average scholar and has helped Kessie with her alchemy test. Exclamation point, because it's exciting, right? All right, so here's all your quest rewards. Complete the quest, give these items, give this XP, tell the world. Last but not least, she has to say something like, she says thanks again already over here. Oh, actually, no, you actually can respond to her, because the last thing she did was talk. So you can respond with, happy to help. Goodbye. And that will close it. All right, connect the two there. Let's add in a closed dialogue. We're nearly done, you guys. There we go. Okay, that ends the quest. She was going to have you talk to somebody else. Who was it again? Jokum. So we'll add that to the dialogue here at the end of the whole story. Thanks again. Go ahead and talk to Jokum if you have time. I believe he has more work for you. There we go. That way we know. Happy to help. And then we'll change that to... I'll talk to Jokum. Okay, cool. So her part of the quest is completely done. All the dialogue is done. All the talking to the other guys is done. We've saved it. Now I can do local script storage, and I'm going to name this one Jungle Mystics 2. Jungle Mystics 1 was Heidi, who we made earlier. This one's going to be called Jungle... Oh, oops. New save. Jungle Mystics 2. Script author is me. Part 2. Dialogue quest with Kessie. Requires 2 more NPCs. We'll create it. So there it is, Jungle Mystics 2. I forgot all my pirate quests that I wrote earlier, and I don't think I did tutorials on those. And then now I'm working on these Jungle Mystic quests up here in the trees. So I've saved it locally. That way, if maybe one day I'm just tired of Conan, want to take a break, uninstall the game, but later on I come back and I'm like, man, I want to bring back all those quests that I had instead of writing all new ones, then I just come here and they're saved here, unless I deleted the actual Conan folder in Steam, which requires that I purposefully go and do that. Okay, so going to close that. We're all done with Kessie, but the thing is, if I'm talking to Kessie and I receive this quest and she says go ask around, if I go ask around, none of these NPCs say anything. They just stare at me blank and soulless and just a bunch of heathens. So I need to actually give these guys dialogue. Now, I'm not going to give a whole tutorial on giving these guys dialogue. At this point, you guys know how to do that. You know how to create dialogue nodes and condition nodes. Like Jokum, I'll come up to him and it will say, does XB Walker have a quest called The Test? Oh, he does? Okay, well, in that case, he must be looking for information from Jokum. And Jokum will be like, hey, so Kessie over there says you have some questions. And then same thing will be for Tella over here. But if I've already completed that quest or I've never completed that quest, it's going to say, has XB Walker completed the test? Oh, he hasn't? Does he even have that quest? No? Well, then he's not ready to actually talk to me. So I'm going to say something like, oh, I don't have time for you right now. Go talk to Kessie. Same thing with this NPC. And these NPCs, you're essentially going to have 2 conditions. Has he completed the quest? If he has, well, I have a quest for him as well to do something else. Oh, he hasn't completed the quest? Well, does he have the quest? He doesn't even have it? Well, he's not even ready to talk to me then. That's essentially what you're doing, except you're doing it in a very basic code form by putting all those dialogue requirements and condition nodes and whatnot. Anyway, that is the end of the dialogue quests. I'm going to end this video and I'm going to go ahead and give Jokum and Tella a bunch of things to say to the player so that they can ask their questions. Essentially, I'm going to ask them the question that she's posed, you know, oh, what sort of base do I need to poison a serpent? And he can either just tell me the answer or I can have him lead me on a bit of a dialogue chase. So I have to actually like scroll through a bunch of dialogue. It's up to you as the admin on what you want to do. Remember, the amount of time you spend writing quests and doing things might make you think that every player is going to be super interested in your quests and be totally involved and want to talk through everything. But the majority of players are not going to do that. They're just going to click through everything as quick as they can, learn what they need, and leave. So don't get offended if a player says, oh, I didn't really read the story. I just finished the quest so I could get the rewards. remember, you're that player too in most cases. So every person who's ever written a quest is always depressed when they see players click-through rate on their quest, that they just click right through and don't actually read anything. But hey, you're writing this for the 1 or 2 people out of 100 that do actually stop and read every bit of dialogue. So keep up the good work, person. And the next tutorial that I will be giving is likely one on how to build a bazaar or central player area on your server to sort of bring your community together. Just a quick preview of that before I end the video. I've already created my cool little bridge over here, which goes up to nothing. Up here is going to be a whole bazaar area that players can come and trade and put vendors and all sorts of fun stuff. So I will see you for the next tutorial where I will show you how to do all those cool things. See you guys on the next one.